Hey, y'all. All right, so got a couple messages for you guys that we're gonna build on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so all right, so just real quick, thank you guys for being here. And if you find that this video is useful, do me a favor and help me share it. Help me spread the word if you so feel. You should. Y'all know me. I don't put no pressure on y'all to promote my channel or promote me. I trust the divine to do that work. So here we are, though, saying hey. All right, so the first message that came this morning, first thing when I woke up, was she dies at sunset. And it says, like, I think it actually said she dies every sunset, or she dies at sunset. So I need to sit here with you guys and determine, because I haven't broken it down myself. You know, when I open up these spaces, I allow for spirit to go ahead and make it make sense for me, because a lot of it just seems kind of random a lot of times. So she dies at sunset. And well, what I first thought about when I heard the channeling was that there's someone who actually has a fear of death. I think that what I'm feeling is that the person saw something. They saw something psychically. They had a vision. They had a dream. They could have even been given something like in a reading or some type of consultation. But what they got and what they heard scared them. It scared them. And so this person has difficulty sleeping at night because they don't know what's going to happen. Okay, I'm hearing that this is tied to someone who this is tied to, I think I spoke about it, about someone being afraid of spiritual work to an extent that they're afraid that they may be possessed. So this person, when at nighttime, they do all kinds of things to avoid going to sleep. And if you were to ask this person about it, they would just say, oh, I couldn't sleep last night. Or, oh, I didn't lay down until 3 a.m. or whatever. And they kind of make light of it. But the reality is that this person, and I just heard the word tampered. So this person was kind of like in something that they didn't really know about, or whatever it was, they're scared. That's the point that I'm getting. I'm also hearing lean not to your own understanding. So that was a channeling I did a few weeks ago. So why am I hearing it now? Oh, this person misunderstood, they didn't translate it right. The message is not what they thought it was. Because they don't know anything. Okay, so I'm seeing the Death Tarot card. So oftentimes the Death Tarot card is a little scary or daunting for people who don't necessarily know the meaning of it. So if a person, okay, let's just be clear. If a person was doing a reading for somebody and they didn't know really what the cards meant, or they really weren't intuitive, so they were really just kind of like BSing, then they gave this person a message. I just saw 444 on the time. So if this is the case, they gave this person a message that they didn't understand, and that they that wasn't real, honestly. Let's put it like that. So if this is something that they went to a practitioner or they went to someone, that person didn't fully know what they were doing. They were not being honorable in their transaction. Okay. So this can be anybody. This can be, okay. So I'm picking up that this could be someone that should be able to understand the messages. Okay. I'm saying should like that is because I feel like that's what they say they do. Right. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, there's a message here about she dies at sunset. Like I said, when it came up, it felt like someone who was afraid to go to sleep. They don't know if they'll wake up, right? Why? Like, why is that feeling there? And I feel like that's tied to some misinterpretation or some weird information that they got, not understanding deeper or higher levels of wisdom. So they basically took the message and it was a 3D message, right? Okay, I just heard thieves. So I'm just gonna put it out there. Stealing work. I don't know who that's for, but that randomly just came to my mind. Actually, look, see, Dreamtime and Awakening. Actually, okay, thank you, Spirit. Okay. I protect all intellectual property that I create. If it's my creation, then nobody else can use it. If they try to use it, they'll be found out. All right. So so there's some copycat energy. That's what I just picked up. I just said a prayer for myself, but there's copycat energy out. There's people who are literally I'm seeing mimic. They're mimicking. They're not really walking. They're not walking the path that they're seeing that they're walking, or that you see them, or that you see. Okay. Okay. I just saw a staff, like a rod, a staff. Okay, I see the person. I know the person. All right, thank you. So that was for me, but I'm grateful to. I'm more than willing, more than happy to share it with you guys in case that resonates. But okay, let's look at this. Dreamtime and Awakening. Okay, so also, the person sees themselves. Remember the mirror reflection card from yesterday. The person sees themselves when they go to sleep. So if they are, oh, there's another movie I saw. Okay, yeah. Okay, so there are also like certain I'm feeling that there, okay, because it says Dreamtime and Awakening, okay, and then seduction and addiction. I feel that there is a sense of truth that is in the dream state for this person, for you, this person, whoever. There are images and things like that that come to them in the dream state or come to you in the dream state that are uncomfortable. I heard because you don't have faith. I'm seeing I'm hearing somebody doesn't have faith in something that they practice or that they do for other people. Somebody doesn't believe in it themselves. So I'm seeing somebody tell somebody else, okay, you're safe, everything is okay, all things are good. And then I'm seeing them stressed and depressed, even though yeah. It's like, even though they're telling this other person that what they're giving them can be trusted, or that they can have trust in it, this person doesn't believe in it. I'm also feeling too, I see the word demons, and actually I see it spelled like the original way, like daemons, so DAE or DEAMONS. So okay, so this is speaking about the origin or the etymology. Okay, so there's words somebody spoke or a spell somebody spoke over somebody else. This reflects back to this person. They're tangled. They're entangled in something that they created for someone else, or Avoidance, through avoidance. I heard that. So avoidance. They're avoiding it. They're avoiding. Okay. Okay, I get it. This person has actually been accused of the same thing multiple times, but has gotten away with it. This person hasn't gotten away with it in their mind, though. Emotionally and mentally and spiritually, this person is haunted by this thing. They can't sleep at night. Because when they sleep, their subconscious runs wild, showing them who they are. Theft. This card, this being on this card is literally taking jewelry or something out of a drawer. And so I see a closet. I see a closet. This is an orange card, so this could be sexual energy. So in the closet, so something about their truth about that, something that they've done, something. Okay, I see this cane again, y'all. I saw this cane, and it's in this card. The cane is here. You know what? Y'all can't see these cards that well. Okay, well, whatever. Y'all don't need to see them anyway. All right, so I feel like this is a continuation. Whoever was here yesterday, if you guys watched the channeling from yesterday, there was a talk about some type of secret society, and this card here is talking about it's the Black League patterning, and I've never heard of that. So I'm gonna go into this handbook and see what this is about. The Orion Secret Society. Okay, see guys? Okay, so the Orion Secret Society fighting the negative forces was called the Black League. They operated covertly and were a major force for inspiration and hope. They're in the likeness, or some type of pop culture likeness would be like Jedi Knights from Star Wars. You have had experience with this group and this latent tendency of resisting authority or fighting for peace in a deep karmic pattern. Today, it is important that this polarity of us versus them be healed. Shift your focus away from light and dark scenarios. Begin to see reality in a unified way, with all manifestations being an equal and valuable part of creation itself. So this says the Black League team is referring to resistance groups that formed during the darkest times in Orion. This says these groups were usually run by priests who practiced vegan mysticism, vegan coming from the planet system or the star system vegan, Vega, sorry, who were also warriors as well. These groups ultimately helped change the consciousness within the Orion system so it could transform, but not without a struggle. They also had to learn the folly of living in polarity, which is what you do when you fight darkness. So even the Black League eventually transcended polarity and healed itself. Many beings who had lives there brought their polarized energy to Earth, and it's still playing out here. Secret societies who believe they fight for freedom from tyranny, religious extremist groups, and who believe they are liberating people, and any group of person who views reality in a polarized way and fights against the side they label as negative. This only perpetuates polarity. Okay. Ashe. If this card comes up in a reading, it usually comes up with other Orion cards. Did it? Let me see. It did. Seduction and addiction. Ooh. So basically, there's the energy of somebody trying to fight their demons, their darkness. And see, that's what I was talking about in the sleep. So this is talking about on an individual level. There is someone out here who has this Black League patterning going on, where they have taken such a moral purity. I want to save people. I want to heal people. I want to be there for them. I want to give everything. So that's an imbalance in the positive polarity. God is in all things. Okay, I'm hearing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's like God is in all things, or God is everywhere. God is benevolent, or God is benevolent. God is in all things. So this is saying that God is in your dark, God is in your light. So there is something here about acceptance of self on the smaller level, okay? Because I'm also seeing initiation and ceremony. So there is something here about, okay, Somebody ain't initiated and is pretending that they initiated. Somebody is pretending that they are something that they are not. Somebody said that they do reading cards, or they do spiritual work, or they're a priest, or whatever it is that they're saying they are. They are. Okay, let me tell you this. They tie that, being that, to some type of initiation ceremony or process. Now, okay, so there is something that is a message that's coming up, because my ears are even fogging up right now. There is a message here. Initiation is personal. It doesn't require any outside entity. There are formal initiations that are based in traditional systems. So you can go through a tradition and become initiated into that tradition or that path. However, okay, hold on, let me see something. Okay, so I have no idea what I just did. Initiation is personal. It's with you and God. It don't need nobody else. And so the way you become initiated into personal priesthood, because that's what even people who do traditional priesthood initiations and things like that, if they hold the higher wisdom and they don't have their own agendas, then they will tell you, and they will make it plain and clear that the initiation is a personal thing, that they are not the person or entity. Even the process is not what is granting you the initiation itself. There are rites and rituals that are performed, of course, but the initiation itself is taking place within you. So like, you are the initiant, and there's nothing that is required for you to be on that journey or that process other than you doing your own healing work, you developing yourself and yourself, your consciousness, progressing yourself. That's initiation. Okay. Okay, I'm hearing initiation through fire. When you hear initiation through fire, what does fire represent? It represents passion, addiction. Fire represents death. It represents, like, dying, giving the old away. It represents transmutation, right? Because you put fire to something, it changes form. It doesn't matter what it is. You can put it to metal, it heats up. Anything. You put it to anything and it changes form. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so there's a personal understanding or a lack of wisdom that a person is holding, and it's making them feel like they are not what they say they are, making them feel like they are a fraud themselves, because they don't hold that wisdom of understanding that the initiation is not a ceremony. A ceremony is a ceremony. It's a rite. It's a ceremony itself. It's the 3D actualization or realization of something that has already been taking place internally. So whether you never go through a formal traditional ceremony, maybe you won't be able to use those terminologies or claim whatever that tradition grants when they initiate you. You may not ever be able to claim any of that, but you have been initiated. Don't be confused. You have been initiated. Okay. So that's for somebody. Somebody is, and it's making me feel some kind of way, because it's making me reflect back onto when I first began to literally say that I was a high priestess. And I remember thinking to myself, so first of all, you just gonna skip priestess and you're gonna jump all the way to high priestess. So you're gonna already be in charge. Okay. All right. So when I look back on it, though, that was a very big leap, or a very faithful. It was deep understanding that I already had. And although I've since been through other types of initiation, let me clarify, not in any systems, but I have been through any other types of initiations since then. Okay, I'm hearing that I need to say it like this. Initiation is literally when you decide you're going to take on a new role in life. You're reborn into a new role. Initiation. Simple as that. Okay. Try to see if there's anything else at the end here. Okay. I also picked up competition. Competition is one of those issues that does rise from polarity as well, because there is that idea that, I'm good at something or I'm good at something, they're bad at it. I'm bad at something, they're good at it. So there's a polarized energy when it comes to competition. Now, healthy competition would say that person is doing that, and if they're capable to do that, then something more can be done. And so that's a healthy way to exercise competition, is to say, well, shoot, something I thought that wasn't able to be done, somebody's doing it. And that's how impossible things become possible, by the way. Something that's generally considered impossible, one person does it, other people see it's possible, and then they begin to do it, and then it's not impossible anymore, or it's not viewed as impossible anymore, because it never was. But that's how we, okay, so I'm getting this feeling too, shoot, that somebody is in your energy field to show you that something is possible, to show you that something is real, so that you believe in it. Somebody's in your energy field so that you can see that it works. Whatever that thing may be, whatever process, ritual, journey, path, that person is around so you can learn that it works, or you're around so that they know it works. Yeah. Somebody unlocks the door. So that's what's happening. Okay, so there's a lot of energies that's going on right now, okay, in this situation. There's some comfort from the ancestors and from the guides to let you know that I'm hearing you're not a phony. So you're not a phony. But the way that you express out into the world, and it's so reliant on validation, that's why it makes you feel phony. You express out to other people in your community, in your environment, in a way that makes you feel like you're putting on a front or putting on some type of facade. And the truth is that your expression of it is based on what you think you're supposed to be. It's the expectation. 100, ultimate evolution. Ultimate evolution. When you realize that that these titles are man-made, language is man-made. So when we try to make ourselves fit into a definition, we're being manipulated. We're allowing a standard or expectation to be manipulated. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. Thank you, Spirit, for helping me clear that energy. Whatever was trying to attach, send it back to wherever it came from. Send it back to wherever it came from. All right. So y'all, okay, I'm hearing spiritual attack. See, I just did that breathing thing. Okay, that's what I need you guys to do when you feel like you're feeling a lot of pressure on you and you feel like a lot of energy is coming towards you. I want you guys to just stop instead of trying to figure out what it is, instead of trying to get hesitant and band-aid it or medicate. Just stop. Breathe and push that energy back out of you. You just push it back out. When I'll tell you this thing, when I first started doing tarot readings online, I was doing them on Facebook. And there would be so many people in those rooms. I have never had as many viewers in any type of platform as I used to have back then. And it's funny because I don't experience the type of energy that I used to experience either when I was going live on Facebook. Okay. So anyway, I don't know what that little tidbit was about, but whatever. So one day I was live and there was it was a low number day. It was like 6 or 7 people in there and I was still doing my thing. And all of a sudden, I just got this heaviness in my chest. It was like this. And I had to stop and I just hurried up and got off of the live because something said, wait, no, you need to move. You need to get out of there. So I got out and I actually said before I got out of the room, I was just like, I don't know what that was, but I don't want it. I don't like it. Bye, y'all. Just like that. And I got out. So, and I'm sweating now that I'm thinking about it. Okay. So somebody is on the receiving end of that. I think that what I'm picking up on is that you may be having a similar type of experience. And I'm also feeling like also if you know that something like that has been happening, people are still trying to do it and it's not working anymore. People, entities, y'all know when I speak on this channel, when I say people, it's not only people. It can be people, it can be guides and spirit entities that you need to let go of or that are still holding on to you. And there can also be principalities or rulers of darkness in high places. So when I say people, just know that it's always interchangeable because we're talking about across these dimensions or realities. We're not just talking about here. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Seeing the one. Okay. Okay. All right. So there is a lot of energy here when it comes to okay, so I'm here. Okay, so I'm getting a channeling from somewhere. Says that the key to saving humanity, the key to saving yourself. You are humanity. Okay, anyway. Okay, anyway. So the key to saving humanity is seeing the one. If you can see the one already, then trust that you are now a mentor and a teacher for other people. Okay, so this is a thing. There's a lot of light workers, spiritual workers, earth angels, new earth guides, who are in position, who are already ready to work. There are some of us who are still questioning who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. This is your test. If you know what I mean when I say seeing the one, then you are in position to do the work. If you know what I mean when I say seeing the one, trust what you're doing. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing a box, I see a box literally across the room, but the box is serving as some kind of a container for you. So all you got to do, okay, so usually boxes can be built, and before they're built or actually formed, but before the flaps are put together and closed in, it's not a box. So, okay, so what is that saying? I don't know what that's saying, y'all. Okay, hold on, wait, because it makes me feel kind of weird sometimes when I'm going on the tangent. Okay, the box. Before the box is put together, okay, it has no form. So we create a box for a use. We create these containers for a use. But what they were before was, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to get to. What is it? All right. We'll see if it comes to me because there is something there about the container and what the container's use was before it became a container. That's kind of deep, I feel like. I heard, what were you before you decided you were a healer? Are y'all talking to me directly? Because that felt personal. What were you before you realized that you had healing capacity? Before you went into the box, before you tried to fit yourself into the image, the definition, what were you doing before then? Because I'm gonna tell you, you were healing then too. You were already doing it then too. Before you tried to put yourself into the box and became a container for people's bullshit. There you go. Before you became a container for people's bullshit and labeled it healing, what were you doing? That's what healing was. That's what you were doing. That's what you were doing. You were healing then. You were healing people then. Now you're just a container. People are still being healed in the space that you hold. But do you need to hold it? Is it a thing? Is it really a thing? Linear thinking. Yes. Look, I don't be making this shit up. Okay, linear thinking. You're trying to fit into something, and the fact of the matter is you never needed to change to do it. You never needed to change. You just needed to keep experiencing life. You're going to keep rolling into other people, running into this person, running into that person, running into this situation that was going to help you gain more understanding. You're going to run into a person who needed that understanding, and then you was going to keep living life. Ultimate evolution. Ultimate evolution. Break free of the linear thinking. Life is not any one thing, right? Life is all these things. Yeah. Pioneering spirit. Okay, yeah. So there is definitely, someone's been called to a certain initiation now. Someone has been called to, I accept the calling. Okay. That was for me. But there is an energy, a general energy of pioneering, right? What does it mean to be a pioneer? Pioneers lead. They're often the first people to do something. That's not a badge of honor or anything. They open the door for other people. They unlock things for people that have been blocked for them for ages. And they do this by proving that it's possible. We go back to we're circling back. Yeah, they do this by living for demonstration purposes. Yeah, that was a download I got not too long ago, and I waited to understand what it really meant for demonstration purposes. For some of y'all, and I'm just gonna say it, and I hope that the people who hear it are the only people who need it, and not anybody who's gonna try to make it fit or sabotage their own life and their own path by trying to be something that they're not. Okay. The message is, that was the message. You're going to miss a whole lot of blessings, a whole lot of life, a whole lot of joy, a whole lot of beauty, a whole lot of money, a whole lot of all types of things. Trying to fit. Right now I'm watching this TV show, Them. And it's a psychological thriller on Amazon Prime. And it has lots of undernotes about race wars, segregation, and then the lingering energy of like racism. But the trauma of it that has been living in people's bodies, in their energetic bodies. The reason I bring it up though is because just like a lot of these movies, those psychological thriller type things, sometimes the person who's helping in those movies, who's offering help, regardless of who they are or what they represent in the movie, a lot of times in those shows, when they're helping, the person who initiates to help someone is the prisoner, or is the antagonist, or the villain, whatever. They're the evil. I don't know. And a lot of those movies, the person who is extending the hand out is often not to be trusted. Where is this going? Okay. So in that show, it was a lot of flip-flopping about who the source of the darkness was. Who was the evil? Was it the white people who were stalking the black people in the neighborhood, sitting in their driveways, blasting music and trying to intimidate them? Were they the evil ones? Or were the black people the evil ones in this show specifically? Were they the evil ones, carrying around their darkness and their trauma from ancestral patterns and all these things that took place in our history, and then acting out in a way with depression and rage and violence? That wasn't their first reaction. Now, I'm just going to be clear. The show shows human beings, for sure, on both sides. But they also show a black man shooting a white man because he got fired because he went to school, got an engineering degree. He's a proper black man, moved to a neighborhood full of white people to level his family up, and is facing racism, evil in this neighborhood. Okay. So then he goes to work in a job that he earned, right? And in that job, he's the only black person. He has ideas. The boss seeks to steal his idea and then decides to fire him. So this black man, who's going through all this stuff just to put his family in a better position, is now angry and shoots not his boss specifically, but he goes to his boss's house to shoot his boss, and another person in the neighborhood got shot instead because they interfered. But whatever. There is something there about the back and forth. It's perception. It's right, wrong. It's like the tension, the energy has its purpose. What is the purpose of that tension and that energy? Because I'll tell you, I'm like all the way towards the end in this season now, but every single thing, and I'm just gonna say it plainly, that them white ladies tried to put onto that family, they experienced. I'm only using the terms white, black for the understanding of what happened in the show. Okay. All right. So just anybody who feels offended, that's the only reason I'm saying it. I mean, not that I care that you're offended, but I don't seek to just offend you without explanation, right? That would be rude. The reason that, or everything that they try to put onto that family, returned to them. One of the ladies tried to hire she had been flirting with the milkman behind her husband's back. She was having lunches with him and stuff like that. She thought she was manipulating him. She thought she was coercing him and getting him and manipulating him. Well, she asked him. Well, she was elated when he offered to handle her problem, her black neighbors across the street. He was elated that she was asking for his help with that. So she asked him, I want to be there. I want to see you when you do it. She was sick in her spirit at this point. And He said, yes, of course I'll do that for you. I'm so glad that you trust me or that you want me to do it. I can protect you. I'll love you, right? And then she he kidnaps her and locks her in an underground cellar and takes her for himself. He ain't killed them black people yet. But she tried to get them people caught up and she got caught up. She got snatched. Now she's I don't know what's gonna happen next, but she in an underground cellar. With wallpaper that matches her house, her wallpaper in her house that she shared with her husband. I'm laughing because it's really, I see self-sacrifice. It's in reverse. And it's funny to me because this is what happens when we decide that we're going to try to, when we consider something different from us that we don't understand or that challenges us or who we say we are, when we try to handle something like that through our ego, that always comes back on us. And the crazy thing is that we will feel so justified. We would feel so justified in what we're doing that we won't be able to see the other side of it. Why those people felt so justified in what they were doing because they felt like their neighborhood was being changed, that where they found comfort, their home space, they felt that it was being encroached upon. All right. But there was a lack of understanding that caused them to have that feeling, of course, right? Okay, so let's move on. Because I don't want to be a spoiler because that show is actually turning out to be exactly what I thought it was going to be from the first episode, which was there's underlying messages and higher wisdom regarding the system of racism that was set into place all the way back to Abraham in the Bible. I don't know why that ties back to Abraham in the Bible, but there's a scene in the show that stood out, and the spirit, okay, how am I trying to say this without giving too much information? The spirit itself that is the spirit of racism itself was birthed through a being or entity who sought to find understanding of himself, like his own darkness. He was seeking to justify. There you go. So he felt like he had got a word from God, like Abraham in the Bible, to kill his son and his wife. And you see this scene where he's praying to God. He's clearly mentally unstable, okay? So he's praying to God and he's saying, I've been a faithful servant. I've done everything you told me to. I went to sacrifice my son, but you let him die at my hand instead of saving him like you did Abraham's son. So this prayer that he's praying, I feel when I was looking at it, it spoke to the misunderstanding or how spiritual text or spiritual insight is translated to someone and causes harm. And it doesn't just cause harm for one person, it becomes systematic over time. Okay, so what could benefit one person in a moment has the potential to cause chaos, grief, and death widespread. I'm also seeing Pharaoh. You remember Pharaoh? Pharaoh feeling challenged, feeling that his seat was in question or being threatened. He put out this thing. He gonna kill all the people who could potentially replace him. To the extent of killing babies and locking up his whole town. The convenience of one. just heard fallen angel, Satan, inner and outer Satan. Let's be clear. Whether you believe Satan is a formed entity or whether you believe it's a collection of your own demons, thoughts, and fears, that was it. Oh, my phone just dinged. So that's beautiful. Okay. Like that confirmation there. Okay, so also this is taking me back to energy transmission. Okay, this is a channeling. I feel it in my spirit, like my toes are tingling right now. Let me open up for it. Architects and engineers, galactic architects and engineers came with the mission, saw possibility in doing something else instead of what was given to them. So it's like the Adam and Eve in the gardens. So she bit the apple and she became aware of other possibilities or other realities that could exist when she ate the apple. So that's what it's talking about when it's talking about these technicians who came here, these pioneering spirits who came here to set up some type of thing that was put them in the position to be God, praised, worshipped. So it wasn't everybody, it wasn't all of them. There was select ones who decided that they could have more than the other engineers. They could have more respect or admiration or get more credit for the work that they were doing if they positioned themselves as gods, as the source. I'm hearing gods, but they're saying source, as the source. So what could benefit one individual or a small group of individuals has now turned into eons and eons of patriarchal. I'm hearing that word, patriarchal bullshit, I guess. Dogmatic is another word I'm hearing. Repressive is another thing I'm hearing, because in order to do that, they would have had to repress some of their own light that they were given to come down here with. They would have had to repress some of that in order to allow that evil agenda to be seeded or planted. Okay. It's hard to catch what you can't see. Wait, no matter what they say, I'm a shine. Okay. That was Nipsey Hussle. So he's coming through right now. Nipsey Hussle is not in my playlist, by the way. So okay, so that overarching message of people being gifted or granted, I mean, this has been coming up. So that's a big energy, I guess, with the collective. And we know that we have these systems that are falling and crumbling right now, but it can be tempting to keep that concept or that theory outside of you when it's likely also happening inside of you. Remember the microcosm, macrocosm? We were talking about everything that's happening inside of you is also happening to Earth. Everything that's happening to Earth is also happening within you. Oh, okay. I'm hearing too. If you feel like you have an uncontrollable addiction, one that you feel like you should be able to kick, but you haven't been able to kick because mentally you tired of it, but still you just haven't been able to get rid of it. That's because you're connected to Gaia. Gaia's still been poisoned. You are connected to Gaia. You are being poisoned. That addiction is helping you to bring awareness to yourself, to what you're doing, to the processes that are taking place. And by coming to attention of your own personal processes, you'll become aware of the same processes happening on a larger scale with Gaia, with humanity itself, and then also with the universe, like universal energies that align. Okay. Okay, secrecy and leap of faith tells me that somebody is positioning themselves to do something. They're asking though a question of if you are going to go with them. I'm ready to jump ship. I'm ready to jump ship. I'm ready to leave it all behind. Will you go with me? And that's what I just heard. There is a new paradigm, a new reality that's waiting. I feel like one person is already there. Like it's like that one person is the one who opened the door. And they're kind of like, hey, I'm about to go. I'm about to go. Are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming? And you just at the door. Like you at the door. You at the door, somebody's waiting for you to come through the door and they at the door. Okay. Um, Okay, so romantically or business wise, this could be tied to like an interest, like a potential partner in relationship or business. Then you and this person have different cultural beliefs. You guys have different cultural beliefs, and it's gonna be, I think, the understanding that one or the other person holds about religion or about culture itself. Um, it's a high vibrational understanding. It's a higher understanding, and so you're going to be able to heal the situation and have union because of your perceptions or because of your insight. Yours, the what is given to you, you were gifted that insight so that you could be able to move into these different areas that are unfamiliar, meet these people that you need to meet, love this person. I was going to say man, love this man that you need to love. Okay. Okay, what else was here? White flag. Okay. The white flag card image came up. White flag. Somebody is surrendering. White flag. Throwing in the flag. Okay. Now, I'm also hearing that somebody may have to keep up a facade that they still are doing something just because of, I guess, how many people they've pulled into it. Um, so there is a certain sense of putting on a front or secrecy about the decisions that have been made to move away from something or to quit something to give up, I guess. This is not like to give up whatever agenda you had or whatever. Okay. Whatever practice, whatever addiction. There is a white flag here of surrender. I'm hearing that for somebody, this is tied to your spiritual practices. You're surrendering. You give up fighting against it. Okay. There was a sense of fear or lack of understanding about who you were going to be with that, or who you were going to be without who you were, your old personality, I guess, something about that. But you're surrendering to this new who you are now. And I feel like it has something to do with what you know or what you're able to, some information that you're able to access. You're surrendering to it, trusting it. Ashe, I take that message. Okay. Ashe. Um, Crayons. 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 A medium for art. Crayons are a medium through which art is created. Crayons are usually used by children. Crayons are made out of wax. Okay, so your crayons, you're coloring in, you're coloring in a picture, bringing life or light to a picture or a scene. No longer blind and unable to hide, no camouflage, no facade, just me. All right, they wanted me to share that with you. Okay. Creating my own reality, no more chasing after distant shores anymore. All right, my own power moves me. All right, I am the fucking sea. Okay. All right. So your realities are aligning. Your existences. You've been living multiple realities or existences. Some people talk about this, like living a double life. But I feel like that's a little 3D to think how it's a like the 3D way to think about it, being two-faced or um, living double lives is a very earthly way to look at that. I would say that a two-faced person or a person who seems to be living two different lives could literally be between parallel realities, and they travel back and forth and able to battle polarization. So they go back and forth between the polarities in order to keep balance. Geminis are often misunderstood in that way. Geminis, or some of y'all low vibrational Geminis are underdeveloped. I say underdeveloped, not low vibrational. You guys are underdeveloped. Some of the Geminis who are underdeveloped. Okay, so critically underdeveloped Gemini energy can present as bipolar disorder, multiple personalities. If it's karmic, if it's really karmic energy, it can be those things: mental instability. What's the other word? Paranoia. Okay, that's more of Pisces when it's in its lower vibration, but it can also be a Gemini trait too when it's. Okay, so the whole purpose of. Okay, so if you find yourself being criticized or being seen as a two-faced person, or if you're seeing someone that way, the test for yourself is to ask how those things fit together to progress you and this person. So if you feel like a person is being two-faced, what polarities is it presenting, first of all? And if those polarities were integrated or balanced, what would you have? Take the person out of the situation and just look at the polarities being presented and see what would happen if you came to the middle of those two polarities instead of being on one side or the other. Then that person wouldn't be two-faced anymore. They would be all-knowing. They would be a well-rounded person. They would be a full embodiment of these two things that are seen as polarities. So if you were not on one end or the other, what would you be seeing that person as? So if you're seeing a person as a split, that means you are on one side or the other. And your goal is to come to center so that they're no longer a split. Also, at the core of being a two-faced person is, again, a person who feels like they have to maintain some type of facade or fit into a definition on one end or the other. So that would mean that one the way that they show up one day is what they feel like they're supposed to show up as, and then perhaps they have the real self, okay, that is also shown, and then that's what makes people think there's a two-faced energy there. So you have a okay, I hope that makes sense because I don't really have no more for it. Okay, I just that's it. Um, so white flag says somebody's giving up. Somebody's giving up something. You're giving up an addiction. I also feel too you're giving up a mentality, a polarity that you've been walking in for a long time, in order to allow this new paradigm to flow in. See, Andromeda, I say it so many ways. It's funny because sometimes I say it one way and that's my certain way. Like I'm certain that's the way it's supposed to be said. And then other times I'll say it a different way. And I'm pretty sure that's how it's supposed to be said when I say it then too. So that's also speaking to our where we are, like in different mind spaces, in different energies, you see things differently. When you're in North Carolina or South Carolina and they speak in Geechee, I don't know which one of them Carolinas they speak Geechee. You know, when you down there, that sounds like normal conversation. Sounds like people speaking English. They are, but you know what I'm saying. Now, but if you come to Oklahoma and people speaking Geechee, you like, what? What? But it's all about your perspective because it's only foreign to you because you not in that area. Okay. I feel like all of these things are making sense to somebody. Okay, we just gonna hope so. Okay, I really want to know more about this energy transmission though, because I feel like there's something there about that. But there is an energy though with Arcturus being more like founder energy, and Andromeda being like new world energy, or like, yeah, new world energy. I want to say it like that. There is a sense of kind of like bridging the past and the present, or the bridging the past and the future, bridging it. How do you bridge the past and the future? By being present. I guess. Oh no. Okay, so you integrate the past into the future, and then what you integrate from the past into the future, you carry on, or into the present, you carry on into the future. That way, the gap is bridged. The gap is bridged once you integrate the things from the past that will prepare you or arm you for the future. Okay, that's how you bridge it. You make the connection between past and future by integrating in the now what has been gained from the past. I color outside the lines, authentic expression. Guess I'm not designed for easy digestion. That talks about your perception, your outlook being boxed in. And that poem is called Lines and Corners, that I wrote. Lines and Corners. Talks about everybody's goal being to fit into one thing or another, when really doing that steals your individual spark. I'm also hearing, what's the Bible verse where they talk about putting the lamp under a something, where he's like, we shine our light into the world. The lamp is not hidden under something to where no one can see it. There's something to that verse right there. Okay, let me sing. Um, Nor do they light a lamp and then put it under a bushel basket. It is set on a lampstand where it gives light to all in the house. For there is nothing hidden except to be made visible. Nothing is secret except to come to light. For anything that becomes visible is light. Okay, let me read that, because that seemed like a way. Okay, so all of these verses about hiding your light. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and read a couple of them because I feel like I need to do that. Matthew 5:16 says, in the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to the Father who is in heaven. We talked about being, what was the word? A pioneer. We talked about being a pioneer. That's what that Bible verse is talking about. So let your individual characteristics, all those gifts that you were granted, allow those things to shine out in your everyday life. So in your everyday life, so that whatever is seen on you, the light, the positivity, the progress, the success, the love, the joy, whatever is seen on you, it will attract people to you. It will attract people to who you are, what you do, how you get that to God. It will attract people to your source of that. And it will then introduce them to God. Okay. They'll meet God through your faith and devotion. That's another lyric of mine. Y'all, sometimes when I'm writing things, well, in the past, when I would write things, I wouldn't know that I was channeling. And then all of those poems and little pieces of stuff that I would write will come up when I was trying to do readings. And I realized that the poems are channelings. Crazy. So John 8:12 says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Again, that's another one that talks about why you have light, why you have the insight you have, why you have the joy you have, why you have the money, the love, the everything that you have. The reason you have that is to be a light in this world, so that you can be a beacon and people can see you and be like, I want to know what that's about, and come to you. All right. And when they come to you, you will have good to give them, because you are pulling that from the source. Okay. You are the light of the world. A city set on the hill cannot be hidden. For basically, what I have put up on this hill cannot be knocked down from this hill. Who is it? Sirach. If you try to knock me down, your demolitions fail, bruv. I'ma shine on them. Shine on them, baby. You a star. Anyway, Sirach, forever. Okay, I can't think of the other lyrics. Be exactly who you are, because they're going to try to steal your light. Don't let them, because you're sure damn fine just the way you are. So, Sirach. 1 Timothy 1:7, desiring to be teachers of the law without understanding either what they are saying or the things about which they make confident assertions. See, that's what we're talking about. A person who desires to possess the wisdom, knowledge, the law, but without seeking to fully understand it, what they're saying or what they're doing, and then also making these very certain, you will be, or you this, or you that, your destiny is this, when they don't understand natural law, universal law. They don't know God. They don't know God, right? Now we know that the law is good if one uses it lawfully, understanding this, that the law is not laid down for the just, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and sinners, for the unholy and profane, for those who strike their fathers and mothers, for murderers. See, now this is speaking to also people who use the God-given power of correction, of order, of power to take down other soldiers in that. So basically they're saying you have light workers who are fighting against each other. And they're all doing the same work, but one is trying to cast down the other person. It's speaking that possessors of this wisdom and knowledge need to know that it is for good, and that lawful use of it, there's a line. Lawful use stops when you begin to use it against those who are also in the light. It says the law is not laid down for the just. You are not here to cast down your brother or sister in this fight. You are here to turn your sights to See, this is where we're talking about people seeking to discredit or knock somebody down a peg or two. This is where jealousy, envy, and all those entities come into play and begin to make teachers and those who've been given spiritual authority to abuse it. They become in competition with other people who they feel have more or less than them. And remember, your perception is your perception. So when you're looking at somebody and thinking they have more than me, and then you haven't asked yourself, why do they seemingly have more of this thing than me? And I'm picking up psychic insight. So why is this person able to see the way that they see? And you don't stop to ask that. Instead, you get jealous. You begin to attempt to lay down the law on them to find out or discredit them in a certain way, when the real answer to the question how should have led you to say, hey, I always see them studying, or they're constantly practicing, or they're out in the world with people learning about other people, or, oh, that person has a social work background, or, oh, that person went to school for psychology, oh, that person did this, or, oh, that person. You don't take the time. Okay. And so that's where that verse, I feel like, is talking about that people who do desire to be leaders and teachers, but at some point find themselves in competition with others who are also doing the same thing. And so then you become lawless. You yourself become lawless when you begin to use the law against people who are just and righteous, right? Not in your eyes. They are just and righteous, and it's proof that they are just and righteous, but because of the fruit. And the fruit is what's causing you to be jealous. So if you see the fruit and it causes you to be jealous, instead of thinking, oh, look what God did in that person's life, or look what that God is doing through that person, then you are lawless, or you have stepped into a lawlessness. And you can come out of it. It's not like you can't, but you come out of it by acknowledging that that's what happened. Okay. I heard your tongue became a weapon of Satan. Okay. 2 Corinthians 4:6. For God, who said, let light shine out of darkness. For God, who said, let light shine out of darkness, has shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. Okay. The face of Jesus Christ is standing out to me that I need to say. The face of Jesus Christ. What does Jesus Christ look like? Not physically, but energetically. What are the characteristics that Jesus walks in? I talk about this a lot. It's one of my favorite things to say because I feel like at the very core, we should get this part. Okay. We should get this part, if nothing else. This says the face of Jesus Christ. What does Jesus Christ look like? Compassion, unconditional love, forgiveness, sacrifice. That's Jesus. That's Jesus' face. Okay. Let light shine out of darkness. When you go in, okay, I say light has no purpose if there is no darkness. Like, what is the purpose of a candle if you never have darkness? If you have a candle in a dark room and it's lit, and then you walk into a lit room, what's the purpose of that candle now? All right. Okay. So darkness itself is able to shine into our hearts and give the light of knowledge. I'm seeing light and knowledge as exchangeable words and terms. All right. The knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. How do you bring glory to God? This verse literally brings me to the idea of a light worker only being around light people, about only being around positive people, or trying to put themselves in a place where they're never in contact with darkness. Negative, positive polarity, or imbalance and positive polarity again. It 2 Corinthians 2:14, but thanks be to God who in Christ always leads us in triumphal procession and through us spreads the fragrance of the knowledge of him everywhere. Yo, I said it, it's already been said multiple times here. This is said, but thanks be to God who in Christ always leads us in triumphal procession. In Christ, when I'm walking in Christ, when I'm living the values and virtues of Christ consciousness, always leads me to triumphal procession, always leads us in triumphal procession. And through us, so through our triumph, we spread the fragrance, the scent. We get people a taste of what it is to know God. Okay? It says, and through us spreads the fragrance of the knowledge of him everywhere. It says that by going through darkness, through trials and things, and allowing God or understanding, knowledge, wisdom to bring you through it, you begin to spread, you get to show people, and they get to taste what it's like to live in the light. Okay? In the light of God, knowledge of God. Okay. I had to make sure I said that right. Okay. And he said to them in Mark 4:21, is a lamp brought in to be put under a basket or under a bed and not on a stand? It says that if you've been given light and you know that you have insight, you know that you carry within you some type of innate wisdom, or if you've gone to school and you've studied and you've practiced and you've dedicated yourself and devoted yourself, it says that you should then allow yourself to be placed upon the pedestal through which God, through which your own knowledge and wisdom, through which through which it manifests that you are on this pedestal. Allow yourself to be. Allow yourself to be. Matthew 5:1-48. Seeing the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and when he sat down, his disciples came to him. I just saw Buddha. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. There's a lot of ways that certain levels of knowledge and wisdom can affect you, and it can affect the way you move throughout life. Okay, this is talking about those who deal with grief, those who deal with depression, those who mourn, those who live in grief, depression, who have less than. It's saying they are blessed because that position grants them the ability, the ability or potential to develop further, to expand, more so than those who don't see any struggle. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Meek, that doesn't say that you see. I think a lot of people read that and think that they have to be a pushover in life. No, this is saying that meek, I feel like meek is saying that a lot of times you don't feel the need to exercise your own effort or power in a situation. You know, that a lot of times it's, you know, you leave it. You leave it to be handled by universal forces, by God, by spirit, by your ancestors, your angels, whoever is helping. You leave it for them. I think that's what meekness is, that you feel not compete, but to fight it. Let me see what the definition of meek is. Patient and submissive. Look at that. Patient and submissive. You submit and surrender to the will of God. Okay. All right. 1 Peter 2:9, but you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. But you are a chosen race. You are a royal priesthood. We already talked about that. We talked about priesthood being a personal relationship with God. You are a personal priesthood. You are a ministry of God. You are a ministry of righteousness. You are. What does it mean to be a light? You are a ministry. Your whole life, your whole existence is a ministry. Yeah. A holy nation. I just heard you are not just you. You are your mama and your grandma and your uncles and your descendants. A holy nation. A people for his own possession. A people who will be possessed by God's Spirit in order to possess others. In order to offer that to other people. Okay. I just saw somebody like, in church and they'd be like caught up in the spirit. So I just saw that. Happen. Or I'm even seeing it in I'm seeing it too, like in an African type of tradition. I'm seeing someone like what they call it being ridden by or something like that. Saddled by or something. I don't know what the term is that they use, but I'm seeing that where it's just a term that says that they basically have evoked and embodied that spirit. A people for his own possession. He's going to possess you so that you may proclaim the excellences of him who called you out of light. So I'm going to bring you through this darkness. I'm going to give you my strength, and I'm going to give you my foresight, and I'm going to give you my patience, and I'm going to give you my ideas, and I'm going to give you all of these things. You are possessed by me and my spirit and my energy, my being. I've possessed you so that you may then go out into the light as God, possessed by God, as God, possessed by God, right? As God, to bring that same joy, to help other people embody me, to help other people come to me, right? So you can definitely see that and take that so many different ways, but I feel like it's a very clear message there. Okay. So James 4:8, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners. You purify your hearts, you double-minded. And purify your hearts, you double-minded. We talked about being double-minded. We talked about two-faced energy. We talked about bipolarism. So bipolar means two polarities. Double polarities, multiple, it's two because it's bi, but two polarities, right? Okay. So this is talking about that there is a double-minded energy of one. I feel like it's more of an invitation to repent, an invitation to what's the other word that they use for that? Every time your feet hit pavement, summon unhealed solvents to deliver peace and healing that was at you. Anyway, okay, so I don't know what the other word is that I'm thinking of, but let's see, John 12:35. So Jesus said to them, the light is among you for a little while longer. So the light will be withdrawn from you. Okay. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness overtake you. The one who walks in the darkness does not know where he is going. The light is with you for a little while longer. Okay, I just heard every minute of the day, you have the choice. The light is among you for a little while longer, until the sun sets and there is no more light in the sky for that day. You have the choice. of light or darkness. And I'm conflicted right now as I'm sitting here because choosing light or dark feeds to the polarization. So I'm conflicted with this verse and what it means. So I ask for deeper and higher understanding as I move forward, and so that I may understand what that message is saying. Moving on, Matthew 5:15. Nor do people light a lamp. Already did that. Matthew 5:14-16. Yes, we did that already. It says, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. We went there. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through he who strengthens me. Okay, we talked about this being possessed by God. And also, we can take it from the biblical context and go in any tradition, belief system of spirituality that there's a fear of possession in general. There's actually, I wouldn't say there's even a fear. There's this commentary, there's this understanding of it that is flawed, right? So in Yoruba tradition, you can be possessed by a spirit, right? But that what that means is that you're walking with the energy of that spirit. And in general, when you're possessed by something, that's what it means. That something is in you and it's creating something different than you would have created. It's doing something different than you personally would do. It's molding you and shaping you in a way. It's showing you and making you, presenting to you different scenarios and circumstances and parts of yourself that align with that energy. So when you're possessed by something, you come in to possess that wisdom and knowledge of what they have. They come into you. That energy is shared with you through possession. You walk that energy's path for a little while. So let me explain it. For instance, like, okay, so 2018 time frame, I was having a period where I was dressing very masculine, like, which is not my way because I'm usually a very feminine energy. And so my dress would be a lot of heels and dresses. I would have nice weaves and curls. Makeup was always nice. But then I went through a transition where I was literally wearing like button-ups, and I was wearing suits, pantsuits, and even skirt suits, but the look was very masculine, even when it was a skirt. Okay. So what I also noticed during that period was that I wore a whole lot of red. I wrote a lot of red, and I spoke. When I think back about the poetry that I wrote at that time, it was very powerful. It was very assertive of who I am and what I know and what I believe and what I've come to be, right? It was very assertive. And so as I learned more about the Orisha, the Yoruban deity pantheon, I learned about Shango. And Shango being a very masculine energy who comes with a lot of force and energy that progresses and pushes things forward. And his color is red. During that time, I also wrote poetry about saving the masculine principle, or saving the masculine in general, bringing him back to kingship, bringing him back to that understanding of self. Okay, so there was an energy that I hope that made sense. So the energies that I was embodying, that I was channeling even through my work and through my clothes, was focused on a healthy masculine polarity, or a healthy masculine principle. I was working on integrating it with my being. And a lot of people now, of course, during that time, I got a lot of comments. There was multiple women who approached me wanting a relationship with me, believing that I was a lesbian, and I'm not a lesbian. So, I'm not, I into women, I guess, a little bit, but I'm not a lesbian. But there was women who were very adamant, and they were not gentle about it. that I was very masculine, and that I must be confused, or I must be hiding or repressing something because I have to be a woman. I have to be a lesbian because of the way I carry myself. So anyway, there was also another thing that I was addressing at that time too, and they were as well addressing for themselves what gay looks like. Okay. So again, we talk about boxes, and trying to be these things because we're trying to be things because that's what resonates, or that's what's related to that thing. Anyway, okay. So anything else? Possession. So yeah, that's a good note about possession. I like that. I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. Strength. Possess me, God, so that I may be powerful, that I may wield your strength and power down here on earth. Possess me. Right? That's kind of what that is. God said that He would do it. Or that's this person saying that I know that I can, because at any given time I can call upon this power. I can embody it, or I can be imbued with God's power, and I can do what I want to out here in this world. Let's see. But thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. I feel like this is also speaking to that specific verse is also talking about you get victory through, remember what we said Jesus Christ was, the consciousness of Christ. Okay, the consciousness, the traits, the understanding of Christ. Okay, so let's try to move away from strictly looking at beings, names, as just a person. They may have been a person, but they are in fact spirit. That's a fact. We can debate whether they are people, but they are in fact spirit, whether they were in bodies or not. The spirits live, right? The energy lives. Okay, let's see. Now great crowds accompany him. He turned and said to them, no one after light. Okay, but seek first upon his righteousness and his majesty. Okay. Arise, shine, the light has come, the glory of God has risen upon you. Ooh, arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Your word is a lamp. Remember, I was tying light to language. Is that what I said earlier? I can't remember. Anyway, a lot of times I can't remember the messages because they're not coming from me, y'all. The understanding, I might be saying it and I might be adding some of my own personal experience, but some of this stuff, like the understanding, I'm getting it as y'all are getting it. Ooh, I like this one here. Hebrews 4:12-13 says, for the word of God is living and active. Hold on, wait. You are the word of God, living and active in this world. Okay, anyway. Sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing the division of soul and of spirit, of joints and of marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And no creature is hidden from his sight, but all are naked and exposed to the eyes of him to whom we must give account. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like that's talking about walking, living mouthpieces, eyes of God, hands of God. So when you call yourself a healer, sharper than any two-edged sword. So some people embody God or evoke God or step into God as they are speaking. Some as they are meditating or in trances. Some have the capacity to heal with their hands. Some have God's sight. It's saying I feel like this is talking to, it talked about two-edged sword, piercing the division of soul and spirit, joints and marrow, which is the physical body, and the discerning of thoughts and intentions of the heart. That right there is empath. Discerning of thoughts and intentions of the heart is empathic. It's also very psychic. You got clairvoyance, you got clairaudience, for the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. So this is talking about the clairs. This is talking about the spiritual gifts. That's the message I'm getting. Okay. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the world. Walk as children of light. In their case, the God of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. In their case, the God of this world has blinded the minds of unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel. Okay, so this is a protection. Many people who feel as though they are not understanding spiritual concepts, who may not, if you feel like you're having a hard time grasping it, or you're maybe not connecting to it, some things are intentionally unfolded over time so that you will have the experience of coming to understanding of them. So some things are hidden from you. Too, this is also talking about those people who don't believe, but who seek the secrets just to, that was it. Just to have the power. They want the wisdom, the knowledge. Okay, so they want the knowledge so that they can look wise and have power. Okay, so there's sometimes things are hidden from them, and because God knows your own heart. God knows that if you were readily given these things, what you would do with them. And so it is hidden from you or kept from you until you come to that place of spiritual maturity to yield that power or to hold that power and authority. You have to come to the maturity. It's an unbeliever. If you're an unbeliever, unbelievers, anybody who would abuse or anything like that are all unbelievers. You can't be a believer and seek to abuse what you believe in. It doesn't make sense. So if you are abusing it to cause harm, division, dissension, chaos, hurt, and pain amongst people, then you don't believe in it. You're not in alignment with it. Okay. I have come into the light, into the world as light. This is Jesus speaking here. I have come into this world as light, energy, positivity, healing, love, so that whoever believes in me may not remain in darkness. I just heard some of y'all, some of y'all are in competition with the person here to uplift you. Some of y'all are casting down the very person sent to lift you up. Jot that down. Because love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy or boast. And remember, love is God. God is love. So if you find yourself embodying impatience, lack of kindness, envy, boastfulness, or arrogance, ask yourself, All those things are not of love. So if you're in alignment with those things, what are you in alignment with? Because it's not love. Love is God. God is love. So if you're not embodying patience, kindness, humility, then who are you in line? What are you in alignment with? If you're stubborn, have to be right, hold on to rightness even when you're wrong, if you ignore the wisdom of God to serve your immediate needs, all those things, let's get to the truth of it. Let's get to the truth of it. If you're casting down anybody, if you're showing a lack of love to anybody or anything, you are not in alignment with love, and you are not in alignment with God. It is too light. It is too light a thing that you should be my servant, to rise up the tribes of Jacob and to bring back the preserved of Israel. I will make you as a light for the nations, that my salvation may reach to the end of the earth. It is too light a thing to be my servant. It is too light a thing that you be my servant. Instead, I will make you a light. You hear me? It is too little a thing. It's too light a thing. It's too little a thing that you should be my servant in this endeavor. Instead, I will make you a light for many nations so that my salvation can reach to the end of the earth. If you are my servant, if I don't give you light, then you can only serve me as I do this in the world. But what I will do instead of that is I will give you some of my light. And that will ensure that my light, God, can continue to the end of time, to the end of earth, it says specifically. This is God fragmenting himself, saying I can make you slaves to me. I can bend you to my will. I can do that. But you know what? Instead of that, I'm going to fragment myself and imbue you with some of my energy so that I may be on earth, so that I may be active and alive on earth in a living body to affect change on an earthly level. It's the reason you exist. Philippians 2:15, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. It says without, you said blameless, innocent, and without blemish. This is speaking of all your perceived iniquities, all these things, sins and fears and doubts and struggles. It's saying that because you are committed, devoted to love, to light, to God, that regardless of you and your earthly self, You are a child of God, and you will still stand amongst those. You will still stand amongst those crooked and twisted and shine. Ooh, here goes something for you. This is for me. Ephesians 5:17-14. Therefore, do not become partners with them. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the world. Walk as children of the light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true. And try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Instead, expose them. So I feel like this is a prophetic message that a lot of you are going to be sent into these places to meet these people, to know these people, to learn these people. Nipsey says, from the hand of God, I'm going to shine on these broads. Okay. All right. Okay, Nipsey. You better shine on them, baby. You a star. Okay. All right. So do not become partners with them. So it's saying you are going to go into these places that have these energies, these people, these principalities in them. You are not to join with these people. You are not to take on their practices. You are not to believe what they believe. You are not to do any of that. You're going to step in. You're going to see. And when through your interaction with them, not by partnering with them or becoming one with them, but with your interaction, you will do one or two things: illuminate them, and they will grow and expand and move further into the light, or you will expose them. Exposure only happens to come or has to come. Well, okay, so it's exposed in general, whether it's one-on-one or in a group. But the exposure only has to take place if they are resistant to the light that is given to them initially. Walk as children of light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true. So again, I'm feeling a lot of jealousy energy where like people can look at you, see a certain thing, they see your fruit, they will try to find every reason other than your light, for you possessing that fruit. So this is where you may have nice things, you may live a certain type of life. People will say you worship Satan. People will say that I'll just use what people say about me. They'll say you worship Satan. They'll say that you are a sex worker, that you are doing sex work you're doing other things as a guise for sex work. Which, if I was that your business? Okay, anyway. But they'll say that you're in a cult. They'll say a lot of things, and they'll try to attribute your fruit to everything but your goodness, your lightness, your righteousness. They'll try to give it to everything else. Okay, so that's why this is saying do not join with them. Because so for instance, I'll use my own life. You go to a practitioner. This practitioner does a certain process for you or service for you, whatever. They do a reading, whatever. Then you go out into the world using all you already have, all your work, your energy, your skills, your talents, your abilities, God's energy, God's favor, and you succeed. Guess what they're going to say the success is tied to? Whatever it is that they like and whatever it is that they believe, they're going to say, I did this thing for her and then she was a success. Do not tie yourself because they will try to steal the glory. Do not join with them because they will try to steal the glory that belongs to God. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Moving on. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good for those who are called according to his purpose. Again, they'll say that it was everything else except for you following what God has given you to follow. Because remember, the lack of understanding, the leaning to their own understanding, is going to cause them to look at you. Of course, remember, so a lot of people ain't consulting with God. A lot of people are consulting with self. Self, if it's not actualized, is Satan. Your unactualized self is Satan. So until you actualize and step into God's self, into God's presence and God's wisdom and knowledge, then what are you? Okay. For everyone who does wicked things hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his works should be exposed. Like a thief in the night, I pull up with it. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, it says, and we know, for everyone who does wicked things hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his work should be exposed. Now, listen, this is saying, for everyone who does wicked things, if you, again, I said this already, you're not of God. If you live wickedly, if you do wicked things to other people, regardless of what you think your justification is, if you do wicked, then you hate God. You hate light. If you do hard, okay, I'm picking up the energy of a person who works with women, who's a women empowerer. That's who they are, but they hate women and they work against women every single day. Every single day. But that's what they do for a living. But on a daily basis in interactions, they treat women poorly. They do not interact with women well, but they're coaching women to empower themselves. Also seeing too, I'm also seeing too, a person, what is it called? A reprobate mind, or cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance would be, you know the truth, you know what's here, but you're just like ignoring it and looking over it because it doesn't suit you. Doesn't suit you and where you stand right now. It says a person will not come to the light. They will resist the light because of fear of being exposed. So a lot of you, that's why people are rejecting you. That's why people are rejecting a lot of y'all out here, because you expose them. Not intentionally, but they can't maintain whatever it is that they're trying to maintain with such light around, such high vibration around. You'll know they're in the light when they're able to come forward. And when they come forward, if they still think that they're going to trick you, then if they come forward thinking that they're going to trick you, then you'll also see that, and then they will be exposed. Because remember, even harder than somebody coming forward with the truth is deciding not to and hiding it and continuing to hide it and continuing to build up on it over time. It's hard to maintain lies, because just with one thing, they fall apart. They can fall apart. So you always have the choice. I always share this one thing about Big Mama's House. Those movies where you like somebody is undercover and like pretending to be a high school student or pretending to be a police officer or pretending to be whatever they pretending to be. In Big Mama's House, you had Martin Lawrence pretending to be a grandma, and he was investigating the family or whatever. Well, he fell in love with the lady and then he got exposed because he didn't just say, hey, I feel like I'm developing feelings for you, and I have this thing I need to tell you. about who I really am. Okay. So anyway. If then your whole body is full of light, having no part dark, it will be wholly bright. And when a lamp with its rays gives you light, as when a light with its lamp gives you rays. Okay, I can't read today, guys. I guess. If then your whole body is full of light, having no part dark, it will be wholly bright, as when a lamp with its rays gives you light. Okay. I do feel the need. See, remember I said some of these verses will talk to polarization of light and dark. Okay. But because I specifically looked up verses related to shining your light, that's what we're going to talk about, because some of these do speak to the positive uses of our darkness. They do speak to the relevance of darkness, some of them, but some of them don't. Okay. Some of the messages, the scriptures specifically, don't speak to the usefulness of darkness. And I think that that's kind of one of the big things when it comes to religious texts and things like that, is that there can be that positive polarity that can become toxic. Okay. That can make people believe they have to live free from flaw in general in order to know God. Okay. So I am speaking that because I'm noticing as I'm reading these, the ones that don't speak to that balance, I have to come back and remind you guys, balance. Okay. For nothing is hidden except to be made manifest. Everything you hide will manifest. So anything that is hidden, it is hidden with the intention for it to be found. It's hidden for the intention for it to be found. Nor is anything secret except to come to light. So this saying, even when you think that you're consciously keeping a secret or keeping something to yourself, you are only leading to its exposure. Remember, when you live light, that means you are living true to self. You are living in alignment with all that is highest and best for you. You don't need to hide things. So when you are hiding them, keeping things secret, it's an indicator that there's some part of you that you've not come to accept. That part of you. It's showing it to you. It's hidden from, you're hiding it so that its truth, the reason that you're hiding it, can be exposed. You're hiding it so that the reason can be exposed. Yeah. Okay. And the more in tune you are with it, the sooner you'll realize why you're hiding it. Okay. Moving on. All right, let's end here with Matthew 15:13. Oh, whoa, there's a lot of them here, y'all. I mean, there's so many of them here. The people dwelling in darkness have seen a great light. Humanity is awakening, consciousness is rising. And for those dwelling in the region and shadow of death, on them a light has dawned. So this is also speaking, okay, so April 16th, 4/16. April 16th, we have a shift of consciousness. There's another major shift. I'm going to look at the astrological transits for that day, because I feel like there might be something that I don't know about that's happening on that day. 4/16 for somebody's divine counterpart will be enlightened, awakened. Somebody may get indication or an omen or a note that some situation that they were hoping could be healed is indeed healing or has healed. So on the 16th, I feel like there might be something for somebody out there, to where someone may feel like they're just rising out of depression or darkness in itself. Yeah, I'm seeing a boost of positivity. I just heard immunity. So they could be healing from some sort of like attack or something like that. Either way, it says that a light has dawned for those who have been in darkness. And those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the sky above, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. Yeah. I need to see what comes before that and after that. That was Daniel 12. So I'm going to say, at that time shall arise Michael, the great prince who has a charge of your people, who has charge of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never has been, since there was a nation till that time. But at that time, your people shall be delivered, everyone whose name shall be found written in the book. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. This is talking about new earth, the transition to new earth. And those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the sky above, and those who turn many to righteousness, and the light workers like the stars forever and ever. Mm-hmm. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Hmm. And I heard the man clothed in linen who was above the waters of the stream. He raised his right hand and his left hand toward heaven and swore by him who lives forever that it would be for a time, times, and half a time. That it would be for a time, times, and half a time. And that when the shattering of the power of the holy people comes to an end, all these things will be finished. The show The Dark Crystal, Jim Henson, the one who does the Muppets. There's a TV show called The Dark Crystal, and it talks about harvesting the power and energy of a race of beings, in order to feed the elite, in order to keep them in power. So this is talking about that power being returned. The container through which our power has been housed is now broken or is breaking, and your power will be returned to you. You remember just 2 months ago maybe, when we had that whole, on this day you're going to receive your superpowers. I feel like that was tied to that. Somebody tell me if that's a connection for them. But it's like, we were like, you're gonna get your superpowers, all Black people, but but this verse literally speaks to something like that. It doesn't say to whom he's speaking, but I guess, Daniel, and I guess I would have to look more into who Daniel was, and now I know who Daniel was, but I have to look more into what his being represents in the story. Okay, but I do feel like this is talking about the unlocking of that thing, and it says it'll be for a time, times, and half a time. That's an interesting way to write that, because I'm hearing timelines, existences. I'm hearing galaxies. I'm hearing like all these different words that we use to say that we're in a different time, right? So it's interesting because it's almost as if it's like it's a time that you won't be able to time. It's a time. It's an equation. Like, that's what I feel like. It's an equation. It's a riddle. And in saying that, it's like there are omens and signs and symbols that if you're paying attention, you'll be able to see it. The shattering of the power of the holy people. Shattering here doesn't mean the breaking away of. The shattering means the spreading of. Like when you get a crack in your windshield and then it slowly turns into like this graveyard of cracks, and we consider it shattered after it actually breaks. It's like the levee breaking. Okay, there we go. Shattering. What else does this say in this chapter though? What shall be the outcome of these things? Go your way, Daniel, for the words are shut up and sealed until the end of time. Many shall purify themselves and make themselves, it says white and refined, and I'm not even going to play into that whole thing. Many shall purify themselves and make themselves light and refined, but the wicked shall act wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. And but those who are wise shall understand. And from the time that the regular burnt offering is taken away, and the fire again, and from the time that the regular burnt offering is taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he who waits and arrives at the 1,335th day. And you shall rest and shall stand in your allotted place at the end of the days. It's a labyrinth that I'm going to work on deciphering. Time, times, and half a time is a labyrinth. And it unlocks codes. So if we can decipher it, we get the codes. Right? Okay, y'all, I think I'm done. I'm going to pull one card and share with y'all what it says. Oh, you know what? I got one better for y'all. Let's get this card here. Prophecy, rightfully so. This is an amazing deck by Lou. She is the creator of decks, divination tools for people who resonate with the diaspora, the African diaspora. Oh, okay. I just saw the Iya card. Iya. Okay. Iya is mother. All right. Okay. So let me see. Oh yeah. If you're interested in kind of like looking at some of the decks she has a couple good ones, really good ones. And she's putting out some more now. Past, when you help a child to love, what you help a child to love can be more important than what you help him to learn. All right. 6 of Hearts. Ooh, Iyaba Aye. She who has people is richer than she who has money. Interesting. All right, let's see what Tikoya Past has to say here. And I'm going to get off of here because I think I'm done. I have to go back and watch this because I feel like there was a lot of good stuff in there. Okay. This is representative of the 6 of Hearts, innocence, joy, nostalgia, memories. If it's in reverse, Alaimo. I don't know these. Y'all work with me. I'm learning how to read Yoruba. Living in the past, forgiveness, and independence. A long journey with a surprise. A generous but credulous person. Credulous. Credulous meaning someone who wants the credit, right? Let's look it up. Because I said that people who will give to you, they'll be generous towards you, but because they want the credit. Oh, no. Okay, no, but that was a good message. Credulous means having or showing too great a readiness to believe things. Naivety. That's what it says. Okay. All right. So, Scorpio, water element. The universal law is beauty. It's a yes. Fortune telling symbol is books and wisdom. Hoodoo fortune says unexpected good fortune and generosity. All right, I love these messages already. Okay, Baraja Espanola, meaning I don't. Y'all, come on now. Sadness. This is a card that represents sadness brought on by traumatic memories. In the reverse, it suggests health issues as a result of stress and depression. The Asante people of Ghana produce akuba, fertility figures, and mother and child figures called Eshi Mansa. Hashem. I just got a personal message about this statue. Someone had shown me a statue that they had and said that they were some African practitioner gave it to her. It was a white lady, and somebody had gave it to her to help her with some black magic. Anyway, I'm gonna read the spirituality message here. Kiss. Keep it simple, Sib. This pertains to your practice. Over time and with varied experiences, you will come to know keeping it simple will serve you better in the long run. This card can also suggest discovering old tricks you remember your family doing when you were younger that you are now incorporating into your life. In reverse, this is a time to embrace new techniques and letting go of rigid beliefs. Of course, you ought to respect the traditions you grew up with or initiated into, but in your personal practice, a little fluidity never hurt anybody. I love that because we did talk about trying to create, trying to live within the confines of what we have devoted ourselves to. Because your spirituality is only one aspect of your life. I like how this book literally you have love, career, money, and spirituality. It says that spiritual, even though all of those things individually can affect the other elements, each one stands alone. And so someone who is too focused on spirituality will see an imbalance or see that whatever other parts could be failing. Okay. Or could need help or attention because there's so much attention being given to that one area of their life. I've seen this. Actually, I've lived this before. I was so kind of like wrapped up in trying to make sure I was doing my inner work. I was really focused on trying to make sure that I wasn't repeating lessons, and I was just super vigilant about like what I was supposed to be doing. And you can get lost in that and drive yourself crazy. I know, because I almost did. I also feel like the Six of Cups talks about needing. You could benefit from a therapist. You could need a therapist to help you deal with some of the things from your past. So you could use some help. Okay. All right. I think that's it, guys. I am going to go ahead and get off of here. Again, thank y'all so much. I'm doing good. Thank y'all for sticking with me. Yeah. Peace.